Okay, கேக்குறதா?
அண்ணா கேக்குது, ஒரு நிமிஷம் வெயிட்.
Okay. So when you're ready, I'll
Sure.
begin.
Start the video?
Yes, Akka. We are online. We are
Hi.
online now.
How are you?
I'm okay, Akka. How are you?
I'm good.
We are live now. So,
Okay, super. Wonderful. You can
firstly,
shoot.
Big namaskaram.
Wonderful day, Guru Purnima.
Yes.
Namaskaram
so
to
happy.
all. Everybody, actually. Everybody teaches me something or the other. Everything teaches me something or the other. So big namaskaram on Guru Purnima day.
Akka, the first interaction we had was when you interviewed me for
I know that. I remember
Opus
that.
Trends magazine.
Yes.
And little did I know that I will have a continuous presence of yours in my life.
All master's design.
Yes. So, Akka, let's get to the topic.
Yeah, sure. Right ahead.
And I've listed a few questions, and then I'm sure viewers may add a few questions to that, and most of it may be answered as you speak. So we'll start with the basic question as what is therapy?
Well, therapy is something, very simply put, it is something that takes you from the level that you are to a level which is, within quotes, better. Okay. So it's an improved situation. Anything that takes you into a better functioning, better in different ways, it is therapy. And we say that it need not be necessarily as therapy, but it is therapeutic. Okay. Therapeutic does not have to have two people in it. It is therapeutic for oneself. So there are things which are therapeutic for oneself. But when we look at therapy itself, there is a sense of, somebody is there who is giving some input, and there is a receiver, right? In therapy, in that which is therapeutic, it happens within oneself. But in a therapy session, within quotes, what happens is that there is somebody who is providing an input. There is a receiver who is taking that input in order to get over a particular issue. It need not be typically an issue also, but it could be just if they are at X level of functioning, to take it to X plus 1. That means that if they are capable of X plus 1 and they are at X, that means it is an issue in the sense that they should be in X plus 1. Every one of us individually. Okay. That is what therapy is about. Therapy is something where something happens given by a particular process by someone, and it is received and internalized, and it moves into a direction which betters oneself. That's therapy.
Okay. So I have been witness to your work very closely, especially with special children.
Absolutely.
Now, how does it work for others? So in our context, since you have used theater arts and music and dance for holistic development, how does it work for others? And in this context, again, dancers and Natya practitioners.
Beautiful. See, the thing is, since you started off with therapy, I want to, and since I somehow brought in what is therapeutic within that itself, within the answer itself. So actually, I need not elaborate it. Maybe I need not elaborate more on it, but I feel like, so I'm just sharing with you.
Sure.
The thing is that in therapy, what happens is, there is still a sense of hierarchy that is happening. Okay. There is a giver and a taker. I am giving him therapy. Let us say there is physiotherapy. Somebody is administering physiotherapy to us, and therefore we get into a state of improved functioning. Let us say dance therapy is happening. Okay. Now, dance therapy is happening means through the dance, there is a facilitator. There is a person who is a therapist, not facilitator. Facilitator is a term which I would use for a more holistic approach. A therapist is there giving dance therapy to somebody, and therefore that person receives the dance therapy and then becomes better. There's no doubt about that. But in the work that we do at Rasa, in the format that was given to me by the master, the great supreme force, and the format that we are practicing, what happens is there is no hierarchy. This hierarchy is not there. It is just two people who are in the same experience at that moment.
Wow.
So
okay.
it is so beautiful. Therefore, I do not like to use the term therapy normally in the work that we do, although it is therapeutic. That's why I said I've already mentioned it. I need not elaborate, but I felt like, so it is therapeutic, no doubt about it, but it is therapeutic for not only the person who is receiving the therapy, but for the therapist. So you can't call it, it's not one-sided, right? So I would call it more of an experience. I won't call it therapy. So what we do at Rasa, or what we try to facilitate, that's why I say use the term facilitator, because you're facilitating a change, a transformation, and that time there is no particular, an approach that I am only facilitating a change in the person I'm working with. I'm facilitating the change in myself too. Right? So therefore, absolutely, because the experience is such. And so I say, what are we at that point of time when two people are working together? We are actually co-actors. We are co-actors in that scene of life. Right? There is a role that is defined, and there will be a give and take, which is happening at that time. And we can't measure either. We can't measure what is the give and what is the take. Who is giving and who is taking? How can you measure it? Who is to measure that? Who is to say that that this is what has happened as far as transformation is concerned? It's not something that we can define so clearly, right? But if we have to, in a typical structured session, we say we are meeting these goals and things like that. Okay. So that happens. We can do that, whether it is a practitioner of Natya on the, what we call the regular front or the special needs front. It is the same rule. It is not different, because all of us are individuals in the same plane, on the same plane. So why should the rule be any different? The rule won't be any different. So we understand that there are people, maybe 1, 2 more people in that space of learning, and it's more that is happening as a transformation because of that experience at that moment in the session of Natya, whether it is a special needs person or anybody else. Well, anybody, as I said, because it's the same plane, there is a transformatory experience that is being facilitated by what? By the process of Natya. Right? That is what is facilitating it. The experience of Natya at that point in time is facilitating a beautiful transformation within all the individuals in that Natya space. That's it.
So that actually beautifully connected to my next question.
Good.
Is because when you say therapeutic, there is a perception of it being unstructured. I'm saying, let's say in a class situation, there is as you said, a teacher or a student in the same environment. Through Natya, there is anyway therapy happening.
Exactly.
So it could be unstructured, and then there is something that we also call as a structured therapy, which you have been part of. So of course, in a special needs situation, we have as you said, we have facilitators, and you've set out a certain structure to a goal pattern.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Natya in a regular class, what would the difference? What would the difference be? I mean, is it essential to discriminate between that? Is it necessary to have that understanding of something that is unstructured, something that is not structured but still present?
Yeah, see, the thing is that there's always, the important thing is to go from structure to the experience. There's no other way you can do it, okay? Because we are all manifest forms. So we are not looking at the immaculate, huge universe that is there. We are all approaching the universe through a manifest form, right? Much the same way. In that is maybe that may be Vedanta, that may be, you know, a different frame, but it's the same thing, because unless you go from a structure, you will not reach any space, because you are in the mode of structured work by being a manifest human being itself. You
Correct.
are in a structured space. Okay, so that is very clear. So
the
you
body
have
itself
to
is a
go,
structure.
it is a structure, and it is, each one has given a different body structure, a different goal to achieve. Everything is different, but there is a structure. There is a structure, right? So there has to be a structure in our work itself. What we in our work, meaning to say, I don't necessarily only mean the work with special children. What I'm working, when I work in the field of Natya, not necessarily only with children with special needs or individuals with special needs, or with anyone, we have to go from the zone of what we call known to the unknown. You can't give.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yes, this
I've
is
never
the
heard
rule.
that. It's always what we hear is the other way around.
No, you have to go from the known. If you don't, how can you go to learn? Like, for example, I'll give you in a very simple education kind of an example. I'll give you. How can you understand that the structure of A, the alphabet A, unless you know that there is a structure, there is a shape of a triangle. So the extension of those two sides of the triangle form the A. So basically, it is that's why in schools they teach shapes before teaching alphabets, right? It's a simple example which I'm giving you, that unless you have so the first thing that you will have to write down, whether it is a regular Natya class or it's with special needs or it's your own goal that you want to achieve, you have to write down, what is my current experience? What is my current state of functioning, right? Unless you know that, how can you progress? How can you progress? The progress may happen, but you will not be conscious of the progress. And unless you're conscious of the progress, there's no use. Because you have seen Rain Man, I'm sure.
Yes.
Have you seen that movie? Okay, there is a person who has autism, and therefore doesn't even recognize the value of money, but is given so many millions, right? Now, like that, you will not, if you're not conscious to transformation is no use. You have to become conscious to the transformation and move ahead in that manner. Only then there is progress. So you have to become conscious to the transformation. So there has to be the known to the unknown. There has to be from the structure to freedom from structure. So then what happens is that I say there are always two approaches to Natya which we can use. One is you have freedom within a structure, which everybody uses. Freedom within a structure. So you have this Bharatanatyam format or this typical Natya format. You say that this is the structure, but you have freedom within the structure. You have freedom to explore. You don't make any compromises of the structure itself or the structure of Bharatanatyam, but you have a freedom to explore different possibilities, different combinations, everything, right? So that is freedom within a structure. How about giving a structure to freedom? Right? This is something which I always like to share. How do you give structure to freedom? Because that is what will give you tangible results. You'll have to be, as I said, conscious to transformation, right? So let's say that there is a contribution. Let's say within the structure, there is a, so you have an exploration of Natya, which is happening in your class with so many of your students, and they are contributing, right? They are contributing freely to it. And then you give it the structure and say, see, this is Bharatanatyam. This is Natya. Right? You, as the person who comes from the point of knowledge, can give that freedom, the structure of what you want to teach them.
Yes.
Am I too complicated in my approach?
I don't think it can be simpler.
Okay, I hope so, because it's a very deep thought, right?
Yes.
It's a very subtle thought. It's a very deep thought. And if anybody who is watching this is not able to comprehend it right on the face value of what we are talking, I would request them to internalize these thoughts. Then it will reveal itself. There's no doubt about it. It will have to reveal itself. The moment you do a manana, a thinking, an internalization of a concept which is given to you, it will reveal itself. It will clarify itself.
So how would like people, young teachers, people who may be teaching, people who are taking classes from other teachers, what would facilitate that awareness of the need for therapy? If we're looking at therapy simply as improvement at one level, and looking at therapy as maybe a very realistic need for goal setting, what would be because I think for a lot of people, therapy itself is a bad word.
No, it's not a bad word.
Yeah.
I won't call it a bad word. I think it's not necessary in a Natya space.
Yeah.
That's all. Because it happens. It's not necessary. It's not a bad word at all. Most of us need it. All of us need it.
Yeah, but therapy, therapy, I don't want to go for therapy. There is a connotation to that.
Because of the hierarchy, because of the hierarchy in it. That's why I said I don't want to talk about it, because how do we define the hierarchy in a Natya session? How can we define the hierarchy? Who is giving, who is taking? How can you define it?
So this is a very different approach to the word or the meaning of therapy as we see it as artists. Ilya, is that
definitely?
Okay.
I mean, it's different because you are coming with a preconceived notion about what it is. That's the only reason. Otherwise, see, that's why I said, how can you measure whether you have learned more by the teaching process or the student has learned more? Can you measure? How much of clarity you have got by the teaching process can you measure? You have not set it as part of your goal.
Yeah.
Right? You have set it as part of your student's goal.
Exactly.
Right. But then what have you learned? You've learned millions of things. Rights and wrongs and possibilities, and like the universe is opening out to you. Right? So how much of learning you've got? Right? So that's something which we can't measure.
So that minute you put that Pulayar Shuri, that there is no hierarchy, and that we are both here or whoever is there in an equal space.
Number of people are here in the same space.
Then it's starting. Yeah. Then the process has started.
It. Then you are on track. That's it.
Brilliant.
Then Natya will take over. So long as you surrender to that Natya process, then it will have to take over. Right? It will have to take over. But so long as you exist, you are finished. I am giving. I am learning. I am teaching. What happens to the Natya there? Poor thing. Right? Okay, it's there. It's just there. So go out there, experience it, get into the Rasanubhava. Get into the Rasanubhava. Just move into it. Because see, in fact, Satish, I shared this beautiful message with you, if I remember, yesterday or day before yesterday. When you said that these could be the possible questions, Akka, I said, see, you know the subject, right? You know the subject, I know the subject. Move with the inner flow of thoughts. Right? I told you this, but why did I tell you this? Because it is the basis of what we're going to talk.
Yes.
Right? It is the basis of what, because we have to move with the flow of inner thoughts, of inner experience. But that experience has to be got first. That's why I said known to the unknown. Without the basic knowledge, you can't get into the experience. Right? So you have to you have to orechify and get that basic knowledge in place. And that orepu will continue throughout the experiences that you're going to get throughout your life. That orepu and that internalization and that manana and that sadhana continually, because new openings, which you have never thought about. You can never with a human intellect. Limited human intellect, how much can you measure of Natya? Right.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is going to a beautiful space. Because I mean, talking about Rasanubhava, not simply in a performer audience context, but much beyond that,
Of course.
is so liberating. I think, I mean, I do that sometimes when I'm when I start my class, I'm sometimes blank. I'm clueless. But when I accept the fact that I'm totally blank and I'm going to start fresh, something happens.
Exactly. And that comes because of your previous knowledge, previous experience, your previous sadhana. So it brings you to a particular point where you can start exploring.
Beautiful. So
that's all.
The next one, a little bit I want to talk about was, see, there are various training methodologies, and some of them focus on technique. So is there a correlation with technique with this is a strange question, with an aspect of happiness? And does therapy look at happiness as a goal?
You see, as far as technique is concerned, there is, if you are learning Bharatanatyam, there has to be a particular technique. If you are learning to sing Hindustani music, it is a particular technique. If you are learning to do photography, it's a different technique altogether. Okay. But the technique, if you are approaching that individual, right? If I am approaching an individual and I want to interact with that individual and I want to take the best out of that individual, why don't you think of this technique as an individual, which has a form, right? So you respect that form, you relate to that form, you try to understand that form, you try to love that form, because that is when communication is going to become very good. Okay, love meaning not in the kadal sense, but I'm saying just pure love, which comes from the bhava, the bhavana of being one with what you want to learn or explore or be with, right? So you become now like that, you are creating a form for Natya, for Bharatanatyam, because it is already having that form. So you have to respect that. You have to give it its space. You cannot you cannot disturb that under any circumstance if you are going to look at only the typical form. Meaning to say, if this is your, I would say, lakshana, there is a lakshana. This long back when I was having a discussion many years ago when I was doing a music composing. Okay, I was sitting and composing the music and I swerved from a raga, from a typical raga, and moved into another raga. I mean, some anya swarangal, we call it. I put some anya swarangal into it because it gave the melody, the flavor which I wanted to use for my dance composition, right? So immediately I had this discussion with my musicians, and very beautifully we arrived at an understanding that there is here Lakshana Sangeetam and Lakshya Sangeetam. Okay, Lakshana Sangeetam means you cannot afford to make that raga any different. Sarigapadasa has to be Sarigapadasa, Mohanam has to be like that. You can't bring one Nishada or one Madhyama into it. Okay, typically. Okay. Whereas Lakshya Sangeetam, that is, you want to create a particular mood. Okay, let's say you want to create a particular mood through that. Then what happens is the Lakshya becomes the structure. The goal, what you want to create, becomes what you have to surrender to. Right? And there you can have certain explorations which will not be or may not be accepted by those who are looking at it as Lakshana. If you are looking at it as Lakshana, it is not the typical Lakshana, because I never said that it's going to be that Lakshana. I'm looking at the Lakshya. Right?
Yes.
So this is the difference in technique. Now, when you talk about technique, why am I mentioning all this? Is because everything is different, but you have to be very clear that this is my motive, this is where I want to go, and this is the structure to the person I want to go. Therefore, I respect that. I go with all love, all surrender, and approach that person for what? Why do I go with surrender? So that I get the best of that person, that structure, right? It's a selfish way only, maybe at the end of the day, because I want to learn more, no? I want to grow, right? I want to transcend. So I go with the surrender. So it's not like going surrender. I mean, in the sense, yes, it is important, because unless you surrender to the space that you are in, you will not get the best of it. It's not possible.
Wonderful.
So that is where we are as far as technique is concerned. So how do you apply technique is, you see, it's a very, very fine understanding. That's why I said you have to internalize this. We have to internalize as to how, because this can get mixed up and misrepresented and misinterpreted, right? Oh, you know what, we don't have to do Lakshana. No. If you have to do Lakshana, you have to surrender to the Lakshana. If you have to do Lakshya, that becomes the form at that time. And you have to surrender to that. Then it will evolve and engulf you. And you will beautifully create and lose yourself in that space of creation.
So with creation, the question I've had for you for many years is...
many years.
இல்ல இப்போ கேக்குறதுக்கு ஒரு சந்தர்ப்பம் இருக்கு. So I was very moved with one of the Arangetrams of the special children. I think it was Janani, and which happened, recently. And I've always been questioning, inquiring into the purpose of a performance. So for lack of better words, for regular children, I keep telling people that process is extremely important, because people come with the focus of first performance. They want to do everything for the performance. But for many years, I've asked why should special children be put on stage? Is it their goal? Is it our goal? But something did change when I saw the program, and it was no longer a performance. It was something else. So this goal setting of a performance, which I think is something that you do for certain children, is that how does that goal evolve, and is that goal necessary?
Now, let's say a goal is necessary for everybody, for everything that I have said. Right in the beginning, I have said that, right?
Yes.
Now, let's take a person who's in the regular stream of learning dance, okay? Or learning music or any of the arts that come into the framework of that beautiful global Natya, okay? So now, if you are in learning that, if you are a student of that, right? So you anyway have to have a goal in mind, right? Every single person who comes looks at that first performance, as you say, okay? But it is, when you go to a teacher, now that's where the role of the teacher comes in. When you go, you don't start without a teacher in any case. You don't, even when you are self-taught, there is a self that is teaching you. There is the inner self is teaching you, okay? There is a teacher there. You cannot learn without a teacher, okay? And you may read a book and learn something, but then there is an inner awareness that comes. That is the master's voice teaches you. That is the great supreme force's voice teaches you. But you have to have a teacher. You cannot do and we are on Guru Purnima. That's why I said everything will teach you, right? So when you go to your teacher, what does the teacher do? The teacher assesses your capabilities, right? Assesses your capabilities and understands that these are your capabilities over time. I'm not saying that overnight he's going to understand that, okay? And he or she understands your capabilities and starts honing your skills towards achievement of a particular goal, right? The goal that you have come in order to learn, right? And the goal that he is empowered in to teach, right? That's there. So you go there, then the teacher says that this is going to be difficult for you, okay? So why don't you explore it this way? That is the experience of the teacher, right? So why don't you explore it this way? He suggests something else, okay? And like, for example, I know that there was a very great Katha Kalakshepam person, okay? I'm not taking the name, but my father-in-law used to tell me when he went to the same guru as Maharajapuram Santanam Day. I mean, Maharajapuram Vishwanatha Iyer kitta he went, okay? Maharajapuram Vishwanatha Iyer in those days was a very great veteran artist. Then Maharajapuram Santanam was his son, who became a very great singer, okay? Now this person goes to him to learn. So he says after some experience, he says, உனக்கு வந்து கச்சேரி அவ்வளோ பர்ஃபெக்டா வராது, ஆனா உனக்கு ஆர்வம் நிறைய இருக்கு அண்ட் உனக்கு சங்கீதம் வராதுன்னு நான் சொல்ல மாட்டேன், ஓகேவா? அதனால நீ வந்து என்ன பண்ணு, you start honing your skills. And he was very good at storytelling. He said you start honing your skills in Katha Kalakshepam, in the sense that you sing along with storytelling. So your musical skills are also being utilized, your exploration is also growing, right? And you are also reaching the people with your music. So everything is right. So he guided him to become a very, very famous Katha Kalakshepam person. Okay. So he gave that direction to him because of his experience, right? So we can guide, and even within the Adavu patterns that we teach, okay, we can make changes. If this Adavu is not looking very ideal for that person, in an Arangetram, you can say that the choreography can be changed in order to make the best presentation because there is an audience. Okay. If it is only for oneself, that person can just freak out, do all the Adavus in whatever way they want for the experience for the self. But when there is an audience, there is a responsibility towards not doing rasa bhangam for the audience that is watching. Okay. So there is a responsibility. So you say, no, inda adavu venda, idu neeta illa. Or maybe we'll say, inda item venda, idu avlo nanna varla. Inda number vandu innu betra varudhu. Inda padam innu konjam betra varudhu. Anda padam potukalam. Why? Because not that they should not have the experience of the other things, but then we are responsible for including the Sahridaya in our experience on the stage, right? So we cannot afford to make mistakes. Of course, I'm not saying that we won't make mistakes. Mistakes will continue to happen. But the effort is not to make the mistakes. That's all. So immediately, mistake achi, okay. That is part and parcel of the growing experience for the artist. Mistakes will happen. And at the end, 20 years later, you'll look back and say, that's something which I would do differently today. That's all. Right? So otherwise, how will you learn? Right? You can't be all there all the time, right? Otherwise, you won't be a human being at all. Okay. So so like that, in the goal setting, as far as the working with special needs is concerned, mostly what we do would be more experiential dance, because the technique won't be perfect in many of the children, right? And you are, as I said, we are presenting a technique. So Janani, when you came for the Arangetram and were moved, I stuck to only 20 Adavus throughout the program in choreography. Only 20 Adavus, because she could not gather more knowledge. But it didn't matter. It's the expertise of the choreographer to make things look different and new with the knowledge point that she can get and can communicate in a manner where it will touch the audience. Right? So she was ready in the expression of the technique in her own way, but without compromise to the technique. It won't be typical, but atypically, it won't be compromising of the because I have said that very clearly. Ilenaka Bharatanatyam nama vande tatra madri irukkum. So that is something which you should respect. Without that, but in the manner that is Janani expressing very typically. So you move with that. So much of sensitivity has to be there. So much of farsight and foresight and understanding what is going to happen in her life through this has to move along with that. Right? And the sadhana has to continue. The effort is there. So that is why I said, yes, there is a goal. So there is this child, we know as a teacher, is capable of that structured output, that typical structured output. And she can execute this much to perfection. That's all, not more. But why not take it this much to that fruition? So that so many more goals are achieved. There is confidence, there is joy, there is expression, there is love, there is a stage of life. So many things happen, right? So this is the formatting that the role responsibility of the teacher has to happen there. So it's a journey that can't happen alone in that sense. Okay. As I said, self-taught also has got a guru. So that process of the learner has to happen. And the guru will teach from within or without.
Yes, that Janani's experience was quite something for me personally. So sometimes I feel in today's scenario we have a lot of influences around us. And so we started off with the base of saying that we come in and any form of being equal and beginning work together is therapeutic. Is there a way to, or is there at all an opposite to that, where teachers could probably create hierarchies and create conflicts, and then is there an opposite to therapy at all? Is there something that would go in contradiction
negative
to therapy?
You're talking about like negative therapy. I mean,
Probably,
then you can't call it therapy at all, no?
But how do you identify it?
Then you can't call it therapy. Therapy means, the very term means it's progressive. So you can't even use that term. Okay. So where there is a degeneration of capacity because of certain interactions, what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Now that may happen if there is a wrong approach, either in the teacher or in the student. It can come from any side, right? There will be degeneration because if it can become progressive if both are fine-tuned to understanding the mistakes. And even accepting and surrendering. So there are three things. First, the awareness to the wrong approach has to be there. அதுவே பாதி பேருக்கு தெரியாது. நான் தப்பு பண்றேனே தெரியாது. இதான் ரைட்னு தப்பு பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பா. Can't be helped. That is the way many are. Okay. Because only the great Lord can even give the clarity of thought that this is wrong or this is right, right? That Viveka is given only to those who are ready for it, right? This is right and this is wrong has to come from within, right? So first has to be, like, for example, if you are talking to a person who is actually extremely depressed but can't understand, there's no diagnosis for the depression. How do you treat that person? You can't understand, right? Forget depression. Even if there's some problem in your body, if there's no diagnosis, how do you treat it? So the first stage is diagnosis, right? So first has to be the awareness is the diagnosis. In this case, the diagnosis is the awareness to the mistake, right? To the wrong approach, that this is not going right. Therefore, there is a degeneration happening. That awareness has to come. Okay. Then only there can be the analysis. Once the awareness comes, then there has to be an analysis of why the degeneration is happening. Okay. And can it be corrected? It should be corrected because you have become aware that it is degeneration, right? There is a drop in the level. There is a small drop, maybe big drop, maybe whatever it is. There is a drop in the level, right? When there is a drop in the level, immediately because we want to progress. No, we don't want to go back. There has to be progress, right? So then immediately, so first is the awareness. Next is the analysis. Then is the formatting of how do you go about correcting it. Then is its application. There also you may not succeed. Even if you've become aware of your mistakes in approach I'm talking, okay? That's why this negative therapy, you know, what you call degeneration is happening, no? You're not aware, so you become aware. Okay. Then you start analysis, but your analysis is wrong. Okay. The next stage, you analyze correctly. So you've crossed over the second hurdle. Then the third hurdle is, that is, you have to start formatting an approach to correct that. Having got your analysis, you need to correct it, right? You have to understand that this is the manner in which to correct it. That again is the second state of awareness. This is the manner in which to correct it. No, you've done your diagnosis. You've got a headache. Okay, you've done your diagnosis. You've realized that the headache is because of your stomach problem. Okay. The next program. Are we running out of time?
No. We have another 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So first you've diagnosed that you have a headache. Then you understood that it is because of a stomach pain, stomach infection, not the headache itself, but it's because of something in the stomach. But okay. Then the third thing is, you have done the analysis. You have said, this is the approach. This is the treatment for it. Right? You have said. Then you apply it. Okay. When you apply the treatment, that also may fail sometimes. Right? So again, you reanalyze. You may succeed. But the process has to happen till the upliftment happens. Till the upliftment happens, the search has to be on. Naturally, otherwise your headache won't go. It will remain.
So, Akka, we had some, I think 1 or 2 questions that came by.
I see. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We have 5 minutes.
Let me see. I just have to change my screen over and check.
Sure.
I think some of it you answered.
Cherry.
We had a question saying, should the artist bend with the flow of the set, or does the art bend with the flow of the artist? So yeah. So if someone is not able to do circular adava, what is the next step? That is one question. Then one more question is, what do you think about persons with certain proficiency only are welcome towards Natya training? Okay. I think this is in context of maybe when we take in admissions, ஒரு certain proficiency level இருந்தாதான் நீ நாட்டியம் பண்ணலாம்.
அப்படிலாம் ஒண்ணும் கிடையாது.
It happens sometimes. I mean, people pick and choose which student can be.
That is because that particular teacher's goal is to only work with advanced students.
Okay. Or material that is workable.
That is all.
In their context, in their eyes.
In their eyes, exactly. That's all. They are very clear about their goal. They'll say, I can only teach, I don't have time to start ABC. I have only time to teach advanced students. So they can say that. I mean, it's up to them to decide. But some may say, no, I want to shape, because each person's love, each person's love and each person's challenge. Some may want to take the bare clay and start the molding. Some may want to, work with already, sort of molded, ready-made thing, just paint it up a bit and, give it a different kind of look. Never know. It's each person's take on this.
So, yes, wonderful. So, Akka, this is the questions we had so far. I'm just scrolling and checking if we have any more. I think a lot of it we needn't have questions because you covered everything in such a holistic fashion that we cannot. So, we were not really talking about what we understand technically as therapy, in the sense of idu panna adu, idu panna adu, adu panna idu. I mean, I love the fact that you began with that process where there is no hierarchy. I think that is sometimes the most difficult step, because we all come with our set of expectations and conditionings and identities that I am
That's
here
natural. That's natural.
Yes.
But if you want to progress, if you want to get the best out of the experience, you will still get good experience. But if you want to get the best out of the experience, you have to surrender.
Wonderful. So yeah, I think we've just about
we have just
reached our
about 8
time,
o'clock. huh?
perfectly in time.
Okay, it was lovely chatting with you.
Yes, Akka, thank you so much. And I'm sure people
Most welcome.
who see this a bit later also are going to,
It's
I think,
available. It will be
internalize.
available, is it?
It will be on
available
Facebook
later?
for some. Yes, it will
Okay.
be. Yeah, so they
Okay. In
can.
which case, yeah, as I said, it is not even, I mean, even as we talk, we are internalizing. As we progress, we will internalize. Even the people, even you and me, I'm not talking about only the people who are watching. You know, each time, even as I talk, there's greater depth, greater clarity, greater, awareness, greater joy.
Super. Thank you so much, Akka. I'm so happy I could
So bye.
have a chat with you.
God bless you.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you so much, Akka.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.